If you're saying that there's going to be this drastic physical change later on in the story or whatever, you can think that. That's fine. That's completely irrelevant. What I'm saying here is that all I'm arguing for is that the drug itself does not automatically weaken him to an extent where it's noticeable. The reason being is because, for one, in order for your physical strength and speed to decline, your body, obviously, your physical change will have to follow, be it like some weight loss or bone density just depleting, your muscle density depleting, etc. That's very noticeable changes. A human being notices when they lose five fucking pounds. Obviously, a demon who has higher sensory capabilities wouldn't notice this to an even greater extent. So what you're saying doesn't even fucking matter. I don't agree
that demons have greater sensory capabilities. I don't know why you think that.
Wait. You believe demons don't have greater sensory capabilities, yet they're smelling blood from a mile away. Let's go, guys.
Smelling blood from a mile away. Can you show that once throughout the series?
Let's hang it up.
Wait, when does it happen? Wait, no, that never happens in Demon Slayer. When does a demon smell blood from a mile away?
No, we can end it right here.
You're wrong, Oshi. You're being stubborn. What are you talking about?
We can end it right here.
Haram, focus on me real quick. Hold on. Haram, focus on me real quick, bro. You said demons don't have. Wait, what are you saying exactly?
I said I don't see Oshi's point on why demons would have greater sensory capabilities in Demon Slayer. I don't think there's any proof for that.
Wait, Haram, you don't think compared to the normal individual, a demon has enhanced hearing, enhanced sight, enhanced strength, and everything?
You know, it's only that they.
I thought you. No. I thought you're talking. Sorry, chill out. I thought you're talking about like, in terms of perceiving your body's like, because this is the whole point. We're discussing like Muzan's drop off due to the drug. I thought he was talking about sensory capabilities in the sense of being able to understand if your body's like having a drop off in strength or not. I don't think that there's some. Yeah, well, I agree that he knows, but I don't agree that he has some capability which makes him know better than like the average person, one who isn't a superhuman.
Oshi is more so just saying that. And I'm sure, I think this is just something like we can just, I'm not going to lie, if you're martial artist, for example. Hold on, people who do martial arts or people who do like motor function derived exercises, they're more in tune with how their body is and how their body performs compared to like an average individual. But then you take it a step further beyond that. We have like the leader of fucking demons. You know, he's supposed to be like this all-powerful guy. I think it's very bizarre that when it comes to recognition of how his motor functions function normally, he wouldn't notice that much of a difference. Or if it's somewhat comparable to an average human, it should far exceed that. I'm not going to lie. Like, we see demons like, what's that one nigga named Doma? Doma's able to tell when the poison is affecting him. He's even able to recognize and combat the poison in some sort of way. So it does seem like their sensory regards to them recognizing offsets or off-putting things that happens to their body is far more capable than what us normal humans will be able to do.
And watch the disagreements start flooding in. By the way, watch the disagreements start flooding in.
Yo, Haram! I don't even think he would even disagree with that. I think that's just something that's just shown anyways.
Well, I mean, I would agree that like in terms of like the average person in comparison to a martial artist, there's going to be differences when it comes to being in tune with your body and recognizing the disparities within your body. That's fine. But I don't get the impression that Muzan's that type of fighter, and maybe you're saying this just because you haven't read like Demon Slayer, but because like in Demon Slayer, Muzan has never been shown to like learn martial arts or anything whatsoever, sorry. All that's been shown for Muzan is that the guy gets turned into a demon by some doctor, and then he becomes so powerful nobody can defeat him. So he creates a bunch of other demons and then just no-diffs everyone with his special abilities and stuff and his transfiguration of his body. I don't see why though he would have some like better in-tune connection with recognizing his body's like sorry, like strengths versus its flaws in comparison to the average person. And the last thing is also though, I mean, that's good and all, but that's good and all on a baseline level, but how do we quantify that though? Because the whole like drug thing, it's super unquantifiable.
Okay,
well, I think my whole point. Wait, you can go.
My whole point. If you were to make the claim and saying that the drug does a drastic makes a drastic like effect on his body when it's first implemented, that's just fucking wrong because he doesn't make note of any sort of drastic physical change. That's what I'm saying here. Whether or not you believe he undergoes a drastic physical change later on in the story, that's fine because he actually makes note of it. But all I'm
Excuse
simply
me, what do you
arguing
mean by
here,
initially?
when he first gets poisoned, he doesn't make any note that his body is weaker to any capacity. Is what I'm saying.
So what's
That's
the
my whole
time?
fucking
What's the
point.
time frame for that? Can you like quantify that in panels?
I don't.
Like,
The
I
time
need a
frame
better
doesn't
idea.
fucking matter, dude. But you see, you're
Hey,
lost in the
Haram,
thought.
But no,
It
yeah, I
doesn't
don't.
no, but
matter.
this is
Wait,
kind of
hold on,
important though
pause,
because
pause, pause.
No, it's
depending
not
on the
important at all.
no,
You're
Wait,
because
missing the
depending
fucking
on the
point.
part of the
oh,
fight, I do have a
wait,
disagreement
You're
if
missing the fucking
Muzan
point.
is like
You're missing the
massively
point.
weakened or not.
See how he just
wait a
shouted?
second.
He's missing the entire
Wait,
point.
hold on. Wait, okay, hold on. Haram, all Oshi is saying is he's not. He's saying the time frame is irrelevant. All that really, the only thing that's relevant here is that there was a time where he didn't recognize it, and a time where he actually recognizes it. We don't know how much time, but we do know there is a difference between it being first administered until the side effects starts to occur, or the side effects, if there was any side effects present, right? It went from being subtle to it being substantial enough to where this guy's body just fucking start aging like fucking milk.
Like I don't like I genuinely don't understand what is so hard to understand about what's coming out of my mouth.
Well, no, I
But I
understand everything
generally
you've said. I've like repeated what you've
you
said
don't
back
though.
to you. I'm just disagreeing with the things you're saying.
You don't though because you said I would need a
Wait,
quantification, but that's completely irrelevant to what I'm saying.
hold on, Rob. I got a question. Wait, so you disagree? Because like Oshi, Oshi's not trying to say like, oh, X amount of time. All Oshi is saying is
I think you
whatever,
understand.
whatever time period. Like we know the drug got administered because I am aware of that. Like the one bitch does poison his ass. There's a time frame between the side effects being subtle to where he doesn't notice it until he starts going through noticeable physiological change, like his hair starts to whiten, the guy stand that he's getting weaker, etc. Right. So we do know there's a time period in which the side effects was subtle to where he didn't notice it, and then it started to appear later on. It kind of similar with the Doma situation. With Shinobu. Shinobu's poison was working on Doma, but the side effects only started to occur after her death, and that's where he starts noticing his eyeballs and everything starts to like plop out. He's like, "Oh shit, I'm poisoned." So we do know that there is a
Nigger.
unspecified amount of time, but that time is relevant enough, though.
So my issue with this though is when it comes to your perception of your own strength. In normal situations, if you like throw a punch as hard as you can, maybe you'll be able to notice that there's a drop off in speed and power. That's fine. But when we're talking about Muzan versus multiple other Hashira, when Muzan may be holding back and he is shown to be holding back in some senses, I have reason enough to be skeptical on if Muzan is actually exerting himself fully. And even if he is
Oh,
exerting
that don't
himself
matter.
fully, if his perception
Yeah,
would be skewed, because when you get jumped in Demon
oh,
Slayer, your brain power is divided and you have to divert your resources. So Muzan may think that the reason why he's not just slaughtering them all is because he's getting jumped rather than him actually having a drop off. For the Doma thing though, Doma just directly gets stabbed in the face and Shinobu says directly, "You just got poisoned," and then he experiences some physical side effects, which we see. In the case of Muzan though, Muzan hasn't even been paying attention to his hair being white and not going back to being black for a very long time. He hasn't paid attention to that for what I think we've been described to be like multiple hours on screen. So I really don't see
do we
much
not
reason
have?
as to why like Muzan would be comparable to his
So
black hair self whatsoever during that
wait,
fight.
I don't think anyone's arguing that he's relative to his black hair itself, though. I
That
think if
was
anything,
Oshi's
Oshi's
point.
saying no. If
What I'm
no,
saying, what I'm, no,
Oshi's saying a
future. What
contrary.
I'm
He's
saying
saying
here is
that.
that no future. What I'm actually questioning here, right? Because remember, what he was initially claiming was that white hair Muzan is not comparable to black hair Muzan. I'm like, okay, what's the relevant distinction? He's like, okay, they slow down in battle against Tanjiro. Cool. He slows down in battle against Tanjiro, but this added
That's
factor
not
which is
all I
going to be
said,
the
Oshi.
I'm going into what you're saying if you allow me to fucking finish. But since you want to
Then
go
why
ahead
did
and
you list like
interrupt
the
me,
first
go
thing that
ahead.
was
No,
just
no, no,
like
no, no, no,
not
no, no. Go ahead.
why
No, no, no,
why
no.
did
You
you
want
just
to go ahead and
why did
speak.
you list the first
Go ahead.
thing
No, no,
then?
no.
That
You
doesn't
can
even support my argument then.
Can
go
y'all
ahead.
like yeah, just say what you got to say, man.
Guys being a sassy little lady. Okay, my apologies. What I was just trying to say is just like the relevant part of my argument is literally black hair Muzan can perceive Yoriichi's movements. To an extent, I don't think he can perceive the 13th form of Yoriichi, but he can perceive his other movements and maybe his other breathing forms. But in the
Wait,
case of
question. Wait,
yeah,
question. What's the difference between 13th form and his in the form that Muzan is perceiving? What's the difference there?
I think 13th form is probably a massive amp to be honest.
in AP or like what does it amp? Or what do you think it amps?
I don't know about like AP.
Wait, can you show me that? Like the 13th, the difference between what's his name? The Yoriichi dude, like normally versus 13 form?
Yeah, I got you.
I'm gonna be so fucking real. The only distinction between Yoriichi in that utilizing that form when he's not utilizing that form is literally the portions of the body where he's aiming at. That's the only distinction that's ever made. The distinction for the 13th form is to aim at all of Muzan's vital areas instead of arbitrarily aiming at like random parts of the body to try to harm him. Like that's literally the only distinction that's ever made within the story.
Only distinction verbally said, but visually shown, no. Let me show you something.
No, how would we visually show him get a speed increase? Like, how would you ever quantify that? Did we actually pick up the amount of time within the story that transpires to determine whether or not he gets a speed increase? There's no way for you to prove that. That's literally unprovable. If you think
super
that's
provable, it's super provable. Let me show it to you. I got you.
You can give a quantification. Nice.
I can definitely give you a quantification.
He could give me a numerical quantification for him getting faster. This guy is absurd.
I did not say
Okay,
numerical.
hold on.
I can give you some vague quantification that just gets the point across.
Can one person just say that, like, that whole thirst, if there was some sort of difference, can't they just reduce that down to or interpret it as this guy started to hold back less?
No, because obviously due to the contextualization of the chapter, that interpretation is just really bad. Do you want to just like look at a couple panels of me? You'll get the point.
Let me wait. Go to that. Yeah, the one with the little bamboo shit. It was like some bamboo shit in that page. I don't know what it was though, but it was some trees.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm of the opinion that Muzan, the reason why he couldn't react was because he was just getting overflowed with a hella information. Like, okay, he's aiming at all my fucking hearts. I don't know what the fuck I can do right now. I'm cooked regardless.
Okay, read with me. Okay, so this guy gets married to his wife after 10 years. Okay.
Just skip to the fight, bro. Just skip to the fight.
No, this is super important. So he's with his wife. He's been living with her for basically his entire life because he left his home at like 12 years old because his mom died and he just deserted the temple instead of inheriting the, I guess, legacy of being a samurai. So he comes here. He's just chilling with his wife and all that stuff. This guy's very powerful. And he leaves one day and then he comes back to his home and his wife and kid were literally like killed by a demon. He literally sat there for 10 days. 10 days doing nothing but looking at his dead wife and child until a swordsman came to him. Okay? When a swordsman came to him, he, buried his wife and child. He mourned them. And then this guy told him about the existence of demons, and that demon had killed his wife and child, his unborn child. Afterwards, he gets introduced to the whole swordsman thing, and then he finds Muzan. Keep in mind, Yoriichi is literally being hailed as like a god. The way they describe this guy in the verse, it's like he's incomparable to anything within nature or imagination. Like, this guy, when they look at him, they say that even the gods are envious of this guy because he's been blessed by everything within existence, pretty much. And the moment he sees Muzan, the progenitor of demons, the guy who had made all of these demons, he said that I knew that I had been born for the purpose of defeating him. To say that this guy is holding back against Muzan is actually just like brain rot. It's brain rot. Like, look at this shit. He's saying that Muzan is overflowing with violent intent. Okay? And then he knows because he heard the bamboo splitting behind him because Muzan attacks him, that if even a single scratch touched him, he would die. So he sees Muzan's 7 hearts and 5 brains. He knows he's a demon and he can't just be killed immediately unless he just destroys all of the hearts and brains. And in that moment, he was practicing his breathing forms. He masters all of his breathing forms when Yoriichi was like, when Muzan was like perceiving this guy, because we see him like visually looking at him, moving attacks towards him to hit him. Yoriichi randomly perception blitzes the fuck out of this guy and kills him here. Well, doesn't kill him, but finishes him off. His facial expression is literally stagnant. You saying that he held back and he didn't get faster from this? It showed that you just didn't read the story. You just did not read the story at all.
Can you actually shut the fuck up so I can actually talk, or do you just want to ramble over?
Shut the fuck up, you dirty nigger. Exactly. Damn.
I'm done.
Monkey already made Future leave with his fucking just over talking niggas. Now he's gonna make everybody else leave because he does not want to engage in the fucking conversation. Shit's
I'll
crazy.
have a conversation. I don't mind.
But look, if what you're saying is okay, well, his facial expression stays stagnant there. Once again, I don't interpret that as him being stagnant, but rather shocked. That's how I interpret his facial
Okay,
expressions
this
as of
is
shock.
rap.
He's like, okay, how the fuck did it hit all my vital points all at once? What the fuck just happened? What kind of technique was that? That's how I interpret. But that's fine. If you have an alternate
He didn't
interpretation, that's
hit
fine. I don't
all
really
of
care.
the vital organs at once. By the way, I don't agree with that.
It's relevant enough for him to be shocked, and he thinks that he's gonna fucking die. Like that's all that fucking
do you
matters. I don't
take back
care.
the retarded notion of Yoriichi holding back even to the smallest degree
No.
against Muzan?
No.
You're crazy. You're actually just crazy. What?
No. I believe he's holding back.
He literally just
Wait,
sits
stop.
in a
You gotta let me
daze for
finish.
10
You gotta
days
let me
because his
finish.
wife and child were killed by
my
demons.
God.
What do you mean he held
dude,
back against
you
the
are a
demon who made all
nerd.
demons?
He's crashing
Whoa.
out right now, guys. He's not actually trying to have a conversation.
Hold on, my phone.
Literally.
That's
died.
insane,
So I have
bro.
to-
This is a Giga Rat. It's actually a
Wait,
Giga Rat.
wait, what's going on? Wait, hold on. What's going on? Because my phone
Yeah, so
died. My phone
Okay,
died.
okay. I'm gonna lay this out for you one more time, future. I'm not gonna rant. I'm gonna
Oh.
summarize. Okay, so this guy Yoriichi, he leaves a temple at the age of 13. He leaves his family so that his brother can pass on. Can take the legacy, take up the mantle, because Yoriichi was much stronger than his brother, so he was gonna take the legacy and inherit it. Sorry. Instead, he left so that his brother could inherit. Okay, the legacy of the family and become a samurai. This guy leaves and runs for 2 days straight without stopping. He comes to a place and finds a woman by the name of Uda. Okay? Yoriichi falls in love with Uda, and 10 years later, they're married. So this guy is 13 years old. He's 23 now. He spent the last 10 years with his wife in the same area. He comes back and finds his pregnant wife and just dead, just killed by a demon. Just killed. After this, he literally sits in a daze in the same spot for 10 days without moving, just holding his wife and child who are killed. Just dead. And then a swordsman comes to him and explains the existence of demons to him. They bury his wife and child. Look at Yoriichi. It looks like he hasn't even slept once in these 10 days. He has bags under his eyes. And this guy is aware of who actually had made all of these demons. It's Muzan. Okay? Yoriichi, ever since he was born, has been described to be a special child. When his brother, one of the strongest people in the verse, talks about him, he talks about how this guy is basically incomparable to anything within existence or imagination. This guy is literally blessed by the gods to the highest degree. He is beyond jealous of his brother because this guy is the greatest swordsman of the land, and he cannot even compare to this guy. So Yoriichi, knowing of his own innate strength and talent, the moment where he finds Muzan, he looks at him and he says, the moment that I looked at Muzan, I knew that I had been born for the purpose of defeating him. He grips his sword, and in the next panel, it stated that Muzan was overflowing with violent intent as though he was magma erupting from a volcano. Okay? Muzan says, I am no longer interested in swordsmen who use breathing. Upon saying that, he lashes out, he swipes towards Yoriichi, and the strength of Muzan is so formidable to where Yoriichi can tell, based off of the bamboo splitting and falling a considerable distance behind him, that even a single scratch, if it touched him, would kill him. Okay? So, Muzan is literally looking at Yoriichi. He's perceiving Yoriichi's movements, okay? And attacking him and throwing attacks at him. These attacks aren't landing. And then in that moment, Yoriichi had completed his 13th sword form that he hadn't been able to do once before this moment, and then he perception blitzes Muzan. This guy's facial expression is stagnant. Okay? Stagnant. Straight up stagnant. Even if you want to say this isn't a perception blitz, he still got speed blitz because he couldn't defend himself against this.
To say
that Yoriichi held back here is extremely dishonest.
No, it's not. Okay, I'm gonna explain why I don't believe it's dishonest at all. For one, yes, Yoriichi could be holding back there since you admitted that he's this expert swordsman. He should have the analytical capabilities to determine a whip's trajectory. Mm-hmm. Clearly, within the previous panel, we see his whips literally behind his body, so he can take advantage of that opening to go full burst of speed and just take out the opponent. Like I have nothing. Like there's no issue. There's literally no issue with that in the slightest. You just believe it's rap because you can't defeat what the fuck I'm saying, which is perfectly okay.
No, you're fucking
Yeah,
retarded.
wait, when
You are
when
retarded.
you
You are actually just
wait, hold on.
retarded.
When you
You're denying the very implicit and explicit narrative of Yoriichi being incomparable
That's
to
your
anyone within
interpretation
this
of what happened.
verse.
I don't. That's your
Incomparable. Not even
interpretation. I don't.
without equal, without rival, without anyone to compare to him.
That's your interpretation. Sure, that's gonna be your
This is
interpretation.
the
It's fine.
interpretation of anyone who has read Demon Slayer. Anyone.
Yeah, and I read Demon Slayer,
Anyone.
and I don't come to that interpretation.
You
So
didn't
I don't
read
know what you're
Demon
talking.
Slayer. You didn't read Demon Slayer.
If you want to
Well, I was
believe that,
gonna
that's
say,
Okay,
fine.
wait. If you read Demon Slayer,
I
I'm
was
gonna
gonna
quiz you.
say
I'm gonna
the
quiz you real
whole.
quick. I'm gonna quiz you real quick.
I don't care about your fucking
How is
arbitrary
Akaza
quiz.
defeated? How is Akaza defeated?
I don't care about your arbitrary quiz. What was that, future?
Okay, you're not gonna answer that question because I know you're
You're just trying to
dishonest as
fucking
fuck
speak,
and you
dude.
don't know what you're
You're just
talking
trying to
about. You
speak for
didn't
the
read this
past 3
fucking
minutes. You
story.
keep fucking yapping.
Blow
Like what's wrong with you?
tears, blow tears.
So go
Okay,
ahead, future.
okay. So I think there are like two ways to interpret that panel. I think one of the ways to interpret it is that, well, the guy clearly he could see things beyond like what the normal eye can see. Because I noticed like the guy could see this dude's fucking rib cage and all this other shit. So I would just assume I'm assuming it's an ability in a verse, and then
It
that
is.
ability grants someone a form of precog. Like I'm guessing you can tell by the way this guy muscles what direction striations is going to go. You're able to determine what path he's going to take. So I would just go off of that to say that Muzan
You're
or
right.
Yoriichi could just be proactively move. Yeah, so he could just be proactively moving before the muscle starts to contract, and then or you can go take the interpretation that it's a blitz. But I think both interpretations are fine. I just think they equal each other out at the end of the day.
Well, the issue is I have though is someone who is able to literally create like 8 different tentacles that spew out of his body, being incapable of just using a single tentacle to even defend against Yoriichi's attacks or hit Yoriichi or avoid the path of Yoriichi. This just gives me the impression that, like I said, Yoriichi is without equal. He was just able to blitz Muzan there.
They're just overpowered him. Power the tentacles. They
Yeah,
could
because
have
like
been heading towards his body. Just could have chopped it.
yeah, because he could be without equal in the sense that because you mentioned like the whole swordsman, his whole neighborhood, the whole hood fucking start glazing this motherfucker. Like he can be peerless within the hood, but then when you step out the hood though, it's not no guarantee that there's gonna be someone out there that is not comparable to you. Like it's kind of no different than like a big fish in a small pond. Like that could be the case for Yoriichi in that sort of sense. And then he does mention that Muzan is a threat to him. He does say like the speed is fearsome, right?
Fearsome.
And it's fearsome speed, and that if he makes the wrong move, the guy is going to cut him, right? The only way that wouldn't make any sense is if he's massively above him. I mean, you could say he's above him, but I don't think he's above him the way I guess some might try and portray it to be. I think the best explanation there is that he's above him, but he's above him, but he's not above him to the extent where he just clips the fuck out of him. Because there's also another variable there, which is the see-through world or whatever it's called, which would obviously allow him to pick up on the kinetic chain and proactively interact with the kinetic chain prior to it being completed. So he has a form of precognition there, and he's very tact minded. Anyways, like it seems like he's a very tact minded guy based off what you said. You said that he was like this once in a fucking generation prodigious swordsman or something like that out of all fucking warriors or whatever. I think that's what you said.
Yeah.
So
The whole
you
point
combine
here,
all
bro.
these factors. Yeah, you combine all these factors together. I think both sides can be satisfied because you, Haram, have to decide that this guy's above him. He can be above him. That's fine. But then Oshi's have to decide that there could be other variables as well. But all these things can just complement each other, which would explain why this guy got the result that he did, or why what transpired actually transpired.
Yeah, like
Instead of us just
I just
Um,
instead of us isolating the two opposing ideas, those two ideas can be compatible. I don't see what's the issue with arguing over it.
think I disagree with the blitzing thing. I like that just
Well, not the
that's
blitzing
like
thing,
the
but
kind of humor.
just the idea that he's above Muzan. That's
Yeah,
just the
I agree.
idea,
I
Yeah,
right?
think
I agree
he's I
about
think
moves
he's
on. I
massively
just don't.
above with the 13th form, but without the 13th form. If you were to say that they're comparable, that's fine.
Yeah,
But
just wait.
even
But
without it, I just clearly think Yoriichi should be stronger, even though there's no proof for it. I just think that the portrayal of him within the story is just beyond anything that Muzan would have on his side. I mean, it's not just a neighborhood thing. This guy is like glazed by Muzan and Kokoshibo, the oldest characters in the verse. Muzan has been alive for 1,000 years. He's fought every single superhuman or seen every single superhuman in the verse, probably. Or he at least has memories of them due to a demon fighting them. Okay? And Kokoshibo literally fights pretty much everyone in the verse besides Muzan, I'm pretty sure. And he shares the same opinion that Yoriichi is just the god of all. The god of all, pretty much. And here's the thing. Here's the thing. I just want to make one last point. Kokoshibo is not hit by the 13th form, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure he's only hit by one attack.
Yeah, it was one attack. Yeah. It was one attack, guys. Yeah. We see multiple slashes on his body, but it was one attack. Let's get it.
Dude, it's just one slash. What are you talking about? You want to go for the panel?
Wait, what if the slashes are already there?
Both his arms and legs. Wait, chill. Both his arms and legs get cut off, but that was a single slash, guys. That was a single slash. Trust me.
Dude, he only gets cut in the neck. What do you mean his arms and legs got cut off? This guy's a rat, bro.
Yeah, we totally don't see his arms.
look at the panels, bro. What are you talking about? His arms and legs don't get cut off. I'm talking about. Wait. I'm talking about Kokoshibo. I'm not talking about Muzan.
Oh yeah, see, I'm talking about Muzan. So yeah, we're talking about two different things here.
Dude, I said one attack, and I said Kokoshibo. You're not tracking, bro. You're not fucking tracking.
I bro. They're the same. They're both demons. It don't even fucking matter.
It matters, bro. Muzan gaps Kokoshibo by admission, bro.
I think they're very close, but
the whole point of this was just to say, okay, Muzan can perceive Yoriichi's movements. You know, before 13th form, he's able to like perceive his movements. His speed is pretty formidable and fearsome to Yoriichi. This is in black hair. White hair, Muzan is like he's getting reacted to by the Hashira, and the Hashira are hitting him. To say that these guys are even close is like crazy.
Bro, it's like 8. It's like he's like preoccupied on like 7 different people, bro. That's like I don't know what to tell you, bro. If you think that Muzan would like still get tagged in a 1-on-1 by individual Hashiras, bro, even Guillaume like did, because when 3 of them were there, they were literally losing, and then like Inosuke, fucking like a couple more people show up, bro, and like he's not even focusing on Guillaume because that he has to focus on so many fucking people. But it's not. I don't think that them tagging him is that much of a feat because it's like 7 people in the fight, bro. I don't think that's a feat. Like, for them at least. You also gotta,
and then like Haram mentioned earlier, like Muzan not being skilled. I think the fact that he's keeping up with like 7 or more than 3.
And like, bro, you're acting like he's like he's like stressing out. Like his face is like emotionless. He's like.
Yeah, my bad. The fact. I think that it takes a considerable amount of like combat powers, just like martial powers alone, just to be capable of working your angles to figure out what to circumvent what angle their sword is going to hit. Because these are, mind you, these are people who most of these people dedicated most of, if not the whole entire lives, to the way of the blade. So I do think it does take a considerable amount of martial arts skill to even be able to compete with these guys, even if he has stats, because there could be an event where he just gets skill diffed. But the fact that he's not getting skill diffed is enough to tell me that this guy is formidable in terms of martial arts prowess. So I disagree with the idea like this guy's just like a random demon guy. He just like swings around whips and stuff like that. Clearly, there's intelligence there in a way that he does fight.
So I think there's intelligence to an extent, but I think the average Hashira might just cliff him in skill, because here's the thing. He has 8 different whips, and those whips have massive AoE. They can go in multiple different directions. This guy has such extreme AoE and quantity of attacks that I honestly, to say that that's like only being like the only reason why he's succeeding is due to like some relevant skill comparable to that of a Hashira, I don't see that. I just think these Hashira, not only are they worser in stats, but like they're getting affected by this guy using so much different AoE attacks.
Well, it's more so that when Haram is more so just the tendrils itself, for him to move him in a specific way, he would have to be skilled in utilizing that. It's no different than, for example, like a cowboy. I know this kind of funny that I brought this up, but like, is a cowboy with a whip? These guys, you can't just pick up a whip and start and try to wrap it around things like a cowboy can. right? That requires a certain amount of finesse and skill. We know that working a whip is a very difficult thing. We see cases. We actually see most examples whether untrained people try and use a whip and they can't. Most of these people can't even make the whip fucking crack, right? Because it requires a certain amount of movement for the body. So
It requires
even outside
training.
so even outside of that, he's skilled in a particular field of martial arts, which is the uses of whip-based weaponry. So that would classify as a martial art. So whether you say like, oh well, he's not skilled in the traditional sense, he is skilled in a particular aspect of martial arts.
Yeah, he got you there, He got slammed. I can't lie.
I don't know about martial arts, like maneuvering it in a specific way. I mean, maybe there's some skill there, but to say that it's like comparable to the skill of a
Nigga,
hashira, I
a
don't.
whip requires a lot
I'm
of
really not
skill. What
seeing.
the fuck?
I'm really not seeing all that because one thing that we do have to recognize
Yeah,
is
we all
Muzan can't pay attention of 8 different, of 8 different people at once. So, unironically, I do think he has to like mindlessly flail around these attacks in general directions to try to hopefully hit a hashira of them.
It's not but it's not mindlessly though. Every one of his attacks serves a purpose.
I mean, mindlessly in the sense where it's not a controlled, precise attack with skill like a professional would.
So you think aiming? So you think? So
I
you
mean,
think
like,
him
I
like?
don't
You think
know
him
about.
aiming for people jugglers with his fucking whip isn't something that's indicative of some sort of skill or finesse?
He aims for people's
Like,
jugulars.
well, he aims for people's vital areas. That would Muzan aims for. Like I seen a fight. It seems like he's aiming for people's vital areas, and not only that, he's parrying their blades as well. You parrying a blade requires a specific level of precision in just finesse, just hand-eye coordination to be able to do. I want you to try and parry a sword. It's very difficult in a similar fashion that I challenge any
Yeah,
normal person who isn't trained to crack a whip or fling a whip around a particular object. That requires definitely a lot of a very, very,
wait,
very
yeah.
considerable
So
amount of
Future is right. So the parry of sword requires like a train. Like you need to be trained in order to do that. And also using a whip is way harder than using a sword. Like, it requires more skill. So I actually watched videos on that type of stuff.
I don't have an issue with that actually. If he does parry shit, I'm gonna like look for those panels. But I mean, I'll accept that if he does parry that stuff. I don't have an issue with that. That actually kind of makes sense to me. I mean,
Yeah, parrying
but
and like immediately attacking after requires like technique. Like you have to know the technique to do that.
oh yeah, he also
That
like
shit you
literally
cannot.
grabs one of their swords when they're like swinging the sword at his like tentacles and just pulls the sword out of their hands. I think that's skill
He told
based.
you, nigga.
No,
Told you,
that's not
nigga. Like,
parrying.
bro,
That's disarming. That's disarming, bro.
no,
That's
no, no, but
disarming.
no,
Wait,
no, but no,
disarming does
like,
take
but
skill. Disarming does take skill.
Well, no,
Wait,
yeah, yeah.
I'm
disarming does
just
take
saying. I'm
skill.
just saying. I'm just saying.
Yo, Jason, remember when I brought up the whip analogy? Him rapping shit like it takes skill to wrap something around, bro. And then like he literally brought up an example where Muzan wraps his fucking tendril around and grabs a fucking blade, dude. Like I can't make this shit up.
Like,
Yeah,
what, bro?
Okay, but definitely though, white hair is like no, like definitely he's not on. Like if he isn't, if he is trying to kill these people, and I do think he's trying to kill these people, because he literally says like during one part of the fight, give up this pointless struggle, just die already, and starts attacking like everything, and he just destroys like an entire area, just crushes multiple skyscrapers and shit. Well, not skyscrapers, because this is like kind of older, like just a bunch of like larger buildings.
oh, dude.
I think I think like this guy is like incomparable to Black Hair and Muzan, because Black Hair is actually like maybe somewhat relative to Yoriichi, and Yoriichi, without even using 13th form, is able to blitz Kokushibo, who's able to like go relative to like multiple Hashira at once, and is probably, I don't know, maybe even a little faster than like Gyomei and shit.
Yeah, what chapter is that shit? That Demon Slayer chapter with the Muzan shit. What chapter is that?
Wait,
For what
what?
thing in specific? Because I'm looking at chapter 189 right now. This is when like Giyu gets
Yeah.
disarmed, and the whole like give up this pointless struggle point.
Wait, but like,
Okay,
what's the point of you saying black hair is above white hair, bro? Like, what's the point, bro?
point of this is
like-
just to say the whole point of discussion is just to say that the drugs are a massive nerf, and I just think that Muzan's not noticing it because maybe he's holding back. Well, no, I don't even
But
think
no, he
he's holding
says like
back.
he notices the white
I don't
hair.
think
He,
he's
like,
I don't think he's
states
holding
that.
it back. I think he's just not. I think he's either not paying attention or no, he isn't paying attention because he's distracted by like 8 different Ashra at the same time. So his perception.
Well,
is
no,
skewed, in my opinion.
wait. I don't. He like. I don't. He notices that like he has white hair. He just says that like he should have like thought like there was a problem. Like he thinks he's like I got white hair now, and he's like, oh, this is gonna go away, and then he just doesn't pay it mind later, and it becomes a big ass issue. Like I don't. And
He
I
didn't
think
notice
it's like
it for like hours though.
Yeah, no, I know, but he's no. He like says I should have like paid more attention to my hair being white. Like he didn't. He notices it's white, but he doesn't pay attention to it being white. Like it's not like a big like issue for him later or earlier in the fight. That's like what he's saying. And then I think the drug thing is like I don't know,
think
like cells are
he's
fighting
saying
the
that.
drug off.
Wait, I don't think he's saying I noticed that I noticed that hair was white like during the fight. I think he's saying it's because I didn't pay more attention to this that I didn't notice that this thing didn't revert back. I think that's what he's saying.
No, he should have. He said I should have figured sooner. My hair color wasn't reverting. So he noticed that it was white. It's just like he thought it would revert, but it never did, and it stayed there, and he got weaker. It's like a sign.
Should have.
He like directly correlates that him being weaker isn't like, or him being weaker is because that he's trying to fight or regain his power that the drug is taking from him.
1 second,
instead
Mom.
of like actually being aging. But I think it is the aging.
I'm talking to someone.
Why
1
would he fight
second,
off
please.
fucking aging if it doesn't nerf him? That doesn't make sense.
I was just
Yeah, I'm
doing
looking at
something.
this chapter. I'm looking at this chapter right now, and like, yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this nigga Muzan. It seems like he's putting belt to ass on these niggas, bro.
He also like states that like he states a time frame. It's like 5 hours, and the drug takes effect in like 3 hours. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he's paying attention to his hair and stuff. Like, sure, that's fine. But my whole point is, if he's paying attention to his hair, why is he not noticing that he's getting weaker? He doesn't realize that he's been getting slower until the Tanjiro fight. So this is what makes me think that he literally just has his perception being skewed because he's focusing on so many other things at the current moment.
Well, I mean, I don't, because like he's not like in the fight. He doesn't even like really attack. Like he doesn't attack Guillaume at all. Like he's not. He's just like tuning out some people and focusing on a majority. He's not hitting everybody. Like he's not actively fighting 7 people. What I'm trying to say, like he's not. They're not all like they're trying to get hits on him, but he's not like actually attacking them. He's just tuning them out like they don't exist, and then focusing on some people, and then like I don't know. I think that he notices like. What I don't know, bro. Like I'm being honest, like he could like maybe notice that there's a slight change in his speed, but he doesn't give a fuck. And then later it's like a problem because he can't kill Tanjiro, who's like arguably a blitz tier slower because that or he's the same. Not blitz tier slower. He's the same speed from when he was at the beginning of the fight. That's like what he states. He's like Tanjiro's as slow as ever. Like and he fought him before and he kind of got his fucking eye cut the first time they're fighting. So he just knows his speed. And he states that he's slow as ever. So I think him to the earliest of the fight to like now is like low-key like a blitz tier difference because Tanjiro doesn't get tagged one time and he's the same speed as before. But he's like I guess more AP.
I was low-key rhetorical, man. I'm very real.
You're saying
Monster, I'm
Tanjiro's a blitz level like faster, or Muzan's like
No,
a blitz level slower?
Muzan's a blitz tier. I think it might. I don't really care, bro. Like he could be low. It's either low in rel or like he doesn't tag him once. That's all I'm saying. Like I think to me, it's a blitz tier slower because he doesn't hit him one time, and Tanjiro dodges every fucking attack, and he's getting arguably slower. But I don't. That doesn't matter. The only point is just that he's as fast as he was at the beginning of the fight. Muzan can tag him before. Now he can't even hit him once. Like that doesn't. He dodges like it's like more tentacles, like fucking 18, and before it was like I don't know 4 or 8. Like it's not. It's a big fucking difference.
Tanjiro Chandra is as slow as ever. I mean, that doesn't make sense though, because I think 13th form should be like a blitz level. And
Well,
so
that's
is this
before
before?
13th form.
Oh, okay, yeah, that
Yeah,
makes sense.
that's yeah. It's like before he uses 13th form. It's like I think it's the sixth form he says that or some shit, but like 13th form could be blister.
Sparky, how many children have you touched today? Go ahead.
Only 5, unfortunately. I kind of off my
What
game.
the fuck? Nigga, come on, dude. I expect better.
Yeah, bro.
Hey, Sparky, you try to play?
Bro, Future, I'm
Yeah,
literally,
low-key, I am.
bro,
I
Future,
don't know how to
I'm
add
literally
you,
on
though. Do I have to
Roblox
add
right
you
now,
on, like,
bro,
the
and a
Epic
bunch
Games
of like kids are like joining
Store,
my
like,
game
what?
saying I lost to C and Sakazuki, bro.
They're a fan, bro.
They're sending me private
No, they're not.
messages.
No, they're not. No,
literally,
Haram, you're not that famous, buddy. No, they're not.
literally, look
No,
at
they're
chat. Look
not.
at chat. I got the screenshots. They're literally like picking me and shit, fucking like dick eating me, sending me private messages on Roblox, bro. It's insane.
I thought he would be better because he's
Haram,
like
you need to
so
play better
hyped
games than
up.
fucking Bandit Beaters, bro. Like, I'm be real. Like,
It's
there's so many
just
good
infinite.
Roblox games that we could play.
We could play Deep Woken, but that's kind of a bandit.
Bro, that's another Bandit. Bro, do you play any games that aren't like those anime
Bro, every
Bandit
game
Beaters,
is a
like of low
bandit
quality?
beater.
No,
Every
that's
game
not.
of Roblox
Yeah,
is a bandit
what
beater.
about Universal Time? What about Universal Time?
No, don't. That shit's